Time to Paint, Chris Redfield, from the Resident Evil board game by Steamforged Games. Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be continuing on with our Resident Evil the board game by Steamforged Games minis. This was backed by via Kickstarter back in 2001, and yeah, so we are now enjoying the reaps. We were reaping the rewards of our donations towards that project, and now I have decided, since last video I did advanced or alternate sculpt Jill, I shall be doing advanced or alternate sculpt Chris this time. The main reason I'm doing Chris is in our home game, we've just advanced him, and he's been using the shotgun quite a bit, so I'd quite like to get him painted up so we can use him in that game. But yeah, so this mini was washed in warm soapy water to get any release agent off from when they're mold injected, and then he was base coated in Brainmatter Beige, rattle canned by this Army Painter line. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into painting Chris Redfield alternate sculpt. Okay, so the first step, we're gonna go in with Cadian Fleshtone, and obviously these are for all the fleshy bits. So his face, his arms, his hands, his fingers. Obviously he's wearing gloves, so yeah, the fingers. But yeah, let's get started. This might need 2 coats to get good coverage, but remember to always water down your paints. And just do 2 thin coats where needed. I'll get this finished and we'll be back. Okay, so that's his skin drying. Next up, we're going to go in with Orruk Flesh, and this is going to be for his vest. And we're going to water this down as usual. And then this will probably need 2 coats as well. Just get a nice coverage. This is a nice green as well, especially if it's washed with Biel-Tan, but we'll see that, we'll get to that set in get to that bit in due course. But yeah, try to avoid going onto the sleeves here, because they will be a whitish colour, so we want to avoid cross contamination of colours, but not the end of the world if you do go over to it. Finish getting that done and we'll be back. Okay, whilst that step's drying, that still needs another coat, but we're going to the next step, which is Eshin Grey. And this is just for the trousers. And we just want to fill it in as best we can. Again, this is going to need 2 coats to get good coverage. But yeah, just start by slapping it down. Don't have to be too careful here, because a lot of the pouches and the belts on the trousers are going to be black, so that doesn't matter too much. If you like they've just gone onto that knee pad, doesn't matter too much, because painting over a dark colour with even darker colour tends to be fine. So I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Okay, so next step, we're going to go in with grey Seer, and this is just going to be for the sleeves. I mean, the sleeves are probably okay to leave as they are sprayed, but I just want a nice base coat, just in case I have to correct anything. I can go back in with the same base coat. So just be careful not to go over on any other bits. Just fill it in. I'll get that done and we'll be back. Next step, we're going to go in with Rhinox Hide, and this is going to be for the belt on his vest. So the strap for his knife over his vest is going to be this colour. So just be careful here. You can go back and correct, but it saves time if you're just a little bit careful with your brush strokes. Take it slowly. Like so. And this is Rhinox Hide is just for this belt. I'll get this finished and we'll be back. Next up, we're going to go in with Mournfang Brown, and this is going to be for his knife holster and parts of the shotgun, like the stock here. So it's colour. And this little pump bit underneath his left hand. It's really that colour. And then this, yeah, this knife holster here is going to be this brown. And then the other side of the straps there. Yeah, like that. That's it. There's a little bit of handle which is going to be black. So I'll get this finished and we'll be back. Okay, so now we want to start going in with our blacks. For this we're going to use Contrast Black Legion. And I've sung the praise of this black many times on this channel. I think it's the best black out there. It's got great coverage. Although I haven't used a huge amount of different blacks. Out of all the Games Workshop ones, at least, I think it's one of the best. Because I think it's just got great coverage, really. But yeah, so anyway, for this, we're going to paint in the boots, the straps on his legs, and the handle on the knife. So this little handle here. So just carefully do that. That bit. And then we're going to also paint the barrel black here, because it's a nice base coat ready for silvers and sort of gunmetal colours. We're also going to do his gloves in this colour and his hair. So I will get that done and we'll be back. Okay, we're almost there with the base coats. Next one is Kantor Blue, and this is just for the badge. So nice and easy step here. Just the badge, like so. Nothing too fancy. Might need 2 coats just to get good coverage, but apart from that, nice easy step. And last but not least, for the base coats, we're going to go in with Leadbelcher. And this is going to be for any buckles, any belt brace buckles and stuff. So like here on his belt. Then the silver part of his gun, which is this whole barrel. The bit that we previously coated in black to get a nice base coat. So now we'll go over that. And once I've done this stage, I'm going to go back in with all the previous colours and just tidy up the base colours, ready for them to be washed. So just take your time on that next bit and find out what bits need correcting and where things are splashed over. As per usual, I do the backs of the hands like here, bit silver, and the watch face. Don't know how well you can see that, but that's silver as well. So I'll get that finished and we'll be back. And that's all the base coats done on him. He's coming along nicely, I think, at the moment. I just went in with all the other paints and just tidied him up a bit, ready for the washing stage. So let's get started on that. I'm going to start off with Biel-Tan Green, and this is to wash the jacket he wears, the vest, I should say. And yeah, doing this on the previous Chris, I really liked how it turned out. So why change it if it's good? So just slap this on. No need to thin this down, it comes out quite nice. And yeah, I'll get this done and we'll be back. Okay, so next wash we're going to go in with Nuln Oil. I've said it on nearly all my videos, I think. Make sure you give your shades a good shake before use. If the pigments aren't mixed up properly, there's a chance your mini, once it dries, the shade dries, it will appear shiny. This can be gotten rid of by varnishing at the end, but it does make it look a little bit odd if you don't. So with this Nuln Oil, I'm just going to cover all the bits that were like the dark colours, like blacks and greys, including his hair. And I'm also going to wash his shoulders, his t-shirt sleeves, but with a wash down. So water it down with a bit of water to about a 50-50 consistency, and yeah, do that and the badge as well. So I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Okay, and the final bit of shading this time is the Reikland Fleshshade. Again, give the pot a good shake before use. And this is all for the skin tones and the browns. So the brown the brown belts, the knife holster, and the gun. Don't forget to do his fingers. Yeah, we'll get that finished and we'll be back. Okay, so that is all the washes completed on Chris. So what I'm going to do next, a good way of doing eyes actually is to do them at this stage, because then as you highlight up you can clean it up and make them not look so derpy. So I'm going to go in and do the eyes. So I'm just going to use Formula P3 Morrow White, and I'll do this off camera because it is quite fiddly. And that's the eyes so far. We'll finish them off shortly, but whilst it's drying we're going to go in and highlight the vest, and for this we're going to go in back with the base Orruk Flesh, and we want to cover up about 90% of what was washed previously. So we're just going to go in with our paint and just start getting the layers up, filling back in previous step. I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Next up we're going to go back in with grey Seer, and this is to do the sleeves. So again, just covering 90% of what was previously painted over. Mostly the sharpest parts of the mini, so where the folds are, any edges and corners. I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Next up, Ulthuan Grey, and this is just to pick up highlights a bit more. You can mix this in with the previous step to get mid-tone. Not 100% necessary, but if you want to do a few more steps than you probably need to do, then yeah, you can do. But yeah, this again is just doing in the bits that are more likely to get light. So next up we're going to go in with Mournfang Brown, and this is just to start picking up the edges of all the lighter brown bits. So the shotgun, like so, and the knife sheath as well, like that. Nice easy step for that. Next step we're going to go in with Skrag Brown, and this is just to pick up the top highlights of these bits. So and the barrel here, if you stipple as well, so the stippling is when you sort of dot tiny dots, that can sometimes be quite nice for highlighting. It gives almost the weapon a bit of texture, like so. And then don't forget the bit that he's holding with his left hand. There you go, it's kind of done. This next step we're going to go on to his trousers, and we're going to go Eshin Grey, which is the original colour here. And again, 90% of what we covered with the wash, we want to come back in and re-highlight, like so. I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Next step, we're going to add a little bit of grey Seer to our wet palette, to the Eshin Grey, and this is to get a nice mid-tone. If you can see that on the wet palette, like a nice mid-tone there, and this is just the next highlight. So I'm going to focus more to the centre of the model here, erase bits, any higher creases, like so. The bits at the bottom down here, like this. These folds on his back side, like that. And again, release creases down the bottom. Maybe the seams as well. I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Fun highlight is even more grey Seer. Again, just mix it in with the previous step again. And then it will just gradually get brighter and brighter. And we want even less on this bit. So just the absolute tip of the iceberg here. Because otherwise it'll be a bit overpowering and too much. We don't want to go too mad. But yeah, the highest parts of the creases, the folds, and then maybe along the seams here. But I'll get that done and we will be back. Next step is Rhinox Hide, and this is going to be for the belt on his green vest. But I'm not going to go straight Rhinox Hide. I'm going to put a bit on my wet palette, and I'm going to get a little bit of grey Seer. And this is going to make a sort of a shine to it, ever so slightly, a slight different colour. And this is just going to be for the top of the belts and like the edges, really, like that, down there, like so, and then across the top. Don't want to go too mad here. Hardly noticeable, but if you really scrutinise, you can tell. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in and finish off the eyeball, the eyes even, and for this I'm using Black Legion. This is just going to be a pinprick of black in there. Like so. Okay, so the next step for all the blacks is Dark Reaper. And this is going to be this first highlight for them. So on the boots, it's like the rounded parts of the boots, the laces. Then for the knee pads, it's the rounded part of the top. And then in the top of any buckles and bits around the leg, all the sharp edges and the straight bits of any pouches. On the gloves, it'll be each individual finger, like so, and the thumb, don't forget the thumb. For the hair, it's just going to be very subtle, so this is going to be more of a sort of dry brush, but that's so. Just a few little across the lines like that. Oh, and don't forget the handle of the dagger as well, like so. I'll get that finished and we'll be back. And the next step, we're going to take Ulthuan Grey and mix it in with the Dark Reaper. Let's get a nice gradual highlight, and this is just going to be on the sort of sharpest bits like that. And then the rounded parts of the boots. A good rule of thumb is to sort of try and do half of what the previous highlight was. So if the previous highlight goes over half the boot, then do like a quarter of the boot, for example. That's the way I sort of try and do it. So, and you don't have to go too mad, because if you do too many highlights, it might start looking a bit odd. But yeah, I'll get this finished and we're back. Next step, we're going to start doing the skin. So with this, we want Cadian Fleshtone. And this is where we can start tidying up the eyes so they don't look so derpy. So just take your time. Start filling it in a bit where the paint might have got a bit too far. Like so. I'll get this finished and we'll be back. Okay, and the next highlight for the skin is Kislev Flesh. And these are going to be on the highest points and the sharpest bits, like the bridge of the nose. You do stippling again. Let's say along the brow, cheek. So I know a lot of people don't like doing eyes, and I don't blame them. But the reason I do is, if you don't do them, you'll never get better at them. So I always attempt to. And plus, it's a talking point. People can have a good laugh about how derpy they sometimes look. So I quite enjoy trying to go as best as possible. But yeah, obviously eyes you don't have to worry about if you don't want to, but like I said, I like a good challenge. Finally, Flayed One Flesh. If you mix this in with the previous step, it will get a nice highlight. Going straight from the bottle, it's far too bright. And this is just going to be the extreme, like the tips of the fingers. And just the sharpest edges here, wherever the light will hit. Accentuate the muscles a bit more. You get the thumb, which I've been doing. The ear, again the brow. Happy with that. Finally, the badge. So with this, we're going to use going back in with Kantor Blue. This is just to bring back some of the original colour, because it's darkened down quite a substantial amount. So next we want to go in with P3 Morrow White, and this is going to be very thin sort of border edge highlight. What this will do, I'm hoping, well, because there's writing that says stars and there's a border to it, so if you just dab like that, it could essentially say stars, and then just do the border of the badge, let's say. Averland Sunset, and this is going to be for the 3 stars on said badge. So again, thin brush, steady hand, just dab, dab, dab. That's so. Happy days. Again, on the back, we want to write stars. So for this, I'm going to use Black Legion. I start with the middle letter, which is the A, and work my way outwards, just so it's more centered. I will do this off camera. There you have it. Not perfect, but I'm quite happy with it. But not least, because this is the Chris Redfield that has been roaming the mansion a little bit, I'm going to put some blood splatter on him. For this we want blood for the blood god, and one of these brush tip covers, and just shoved inside is a bit of sponge. I saw this somewhere, I can't remember where. It's a good way of getting a nice blood splatter, and you want a bit of tissue paper just to dab most of it off, so we don't want too much on him. You just want little bits of splatter, maybe on the arm, so. Probably need a bit more in there. Dab too much of it off. And maybe a bit on his vest. A bit on his arm, as I said. Bit on his knee pad. Yeah, literally don't need a huge amount. A bit on his arm here. And there you have it. Chris Redfield completed. I'll just finish off the base and we'll be back. And there you have it. Chris Redfield of Stars. Next to the rest of his companions, compatriots, friends, and probably eventually family. If you would like to support the channel, a donation will go very far into improving the quality of my videos. I am currently saving up for a new lamp to improve the quality of my painting videos themselves. So if you would like to donate, please chuck in a request with any donation of any models that you want to see painted, and I will attempt to get them painted up as soon as I can. But yeah, thanks again for watching. If you like this video, please leave me a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and happy gaming. and happy painting.